You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast, joined today by the indomitable Giles Edwards.
Hello.
And we have a very sort of small slate this week of topics to discuss, new releases and news. So I thought I would actually start with sort of a rundown of all the news that wasn't fit to print or cover in more depth. So there's like 4 items that I noted that we'll just mention but aren't worth full discussion. Of course, if you have any comments, Giles, you can go ahead and comment on them. But first off, Harmony Korine, who we'll get into later, his company, Edgelord, has partnered with Runway, a AI company, for some unknown purposes, develop some movies that feature Runway's AI technology, I guess. And Korine is also going to be chairman of a jury on an AI film festival, which may be sponsored by Runway, I believe. Takeaway, Harmony Korine seems to be fully embracing AI technology right now. Any thoughts, Giles?
Geez. I will hold my
That's
observations on that since.
That's fine. Yeah, a lot of guys who are, Damon Packard, who we talked to, and also Zeb Haradon, who we talked to, guys who don't have a lot of money to make movies, have been embracing AI for making shorts usually. Harmony Korine, of course, has a lot more money available to him. He doesn't have to embrace AI, but he seems to be diving in full throttle. What that means, no idea. Other new news. Well, CinemaCon brought a lot of conversation that we're mostly not interested in. There was one little nugget they showed, probably what was about 30 seconds to a minute of footage from the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie Begonia, which, as you might recall, is a remake of Save the Green Planet, the South Korean weird cult movie that's on our radar. And I guess what got everyone talking was the clip they showed. Emma Stone is bald, so I think she's bald throughout the movie, but at least in one scene that they showed, she's bald, and that got people talking. More importantly, more substantively, we have a release date for the movie, which is November 7th. And a November 7th release date suggests that they are thinking that there is some Oscar potential here. So that November, mark your calendars for November 7th, and in late September we'll have the Paul Thomas Anderson movie that we talked, One Battle After Another, that we talked about last week. So couple ones coming down. Just mention that Venice Film Festival announced that they will be giving a Career Achievement Award this year to, you couldn't guess just out of nowhere, but it's going to Werner Herzog. So
well,
3 cheers for
he
Werner.
He has achieved a good deal.
He has achieved, in his career, he's achieved a good deal. He has at least one movie left in him, that animated movie whose title I don't remember, but should be coming out 2026, I believe. Animated movie from Werner Herzog based on his novel about a Japanese soldier who forgets, or who doesn't acknowledge that World War II has ended and continues living in the jungle and fighting the battle on his own. Last thing we'll mention that isn't really worth a full discussion segment is Cannes announced its lineup. Did not see any weird movies, definitely weird movies in it. But there are notable new movies from a couple of directors we tend to follow. Ari Aster's Eddington, I think it's Eddington is coming out, which is kind of a Western-themed horror, it looks like, with Pedro Pascal, I think. Is it Pedro Pascal? I think Pedro Pascal's in it and some other notable names.
Oh, Emma Stone,
Emma Stone again.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yes. It is Pedro Pascal, right?
Yes, he is Ted Garcia, the only actor with a character listed on IMDb.
All right. Yes, he's the seems to be the featured actor. So, but yeah, that's good that Emma and Joaquin are in it. And then Wes Anderson's coming out with one called it's the Phoenician Score.
Yeah, I've
Phoenician
seen.
Score. At any rate, that trailer's been passed around a lot. It has, the
Oh, the
usual
Phoenician Scheme.
scheme. Yeah, I wrote down. See, I wrote down. I couldn't read my own handwriting, so
I wouldn't be surprised if this scheme had to do with making a big score. So,
yeah. Yeah. So that trailer made a splash and has been passed around a bit. Does not look particularly weird, but it's Wes Anderson-y to the core. And then the last one I wanted to mention is one that's not in competition. It's going to be, I don't know where it's playing. It's just not in competition, but it's from Sylvain Chomet, and it's called A Magnificent Life. He is the animator behind the Triplets of Belleville, if you don't recognize the name. And he's done some films afterwards, The Illusionist and so forth, that didn't quite get as much notice as Triplets of Belleville. He's got a new one. It's A Magnificent Life. It is a biopic of the French director Maurice Pagnol, so no idea on that one. But somewhat noteworthy, could be interesting to check out. Nothing seems particularly weird from what I can tell.
mhm.
Any thoughts on any of that, Giles?
Oh no, it's I'm sure well, it sounds like I'll have several months to let any thoughts gestate on any of those titles, but right now, yep, it's good. Always happy to hear Wes Anderson is grinding away in his genre. And Ari Aster, I wasn't the biggest fan of Midsummer, but Beau was Afraid was quite a delight. So I am on
You're the
on the lookout
opposite
for
of
his output too.
a traditional audience in that you weren't a fan of,
Well, yeah, it seems
and were a fan of Bo's.
virtually everyone but yeah, virtually everyone but me got the memo about Midsummer being really enjoyable, and it's and I'm happy that they're happy. But
I like both of them, so I don't really
well,
have.
that's even better.
It's clear that Bo is Afraid is a weirder movie for sure.
Oh, yes.
Um, well, your audio is a little bit choppy, but I don't know if we can do anything about that at this point. So we're going to go ahead and look then at the
Yeah.
topics we had to discuss in a little bit greater detail. Probably not a lot greater detail for most of these, but here they are, four bigger topics to discuss. And
All very different movies.
yeah, very different. Well, yeah, I guess so. We will start with this one, Giles, if you'd like to describe to the viewers who can't see.
Sure, this is a widescreen. I'm guessing it's a photo montage. I believe this is the same individual a number of times. Certainly, three of them look identical. It's done in, I guess, what I'd call a pink sepia. coloring, otherwise a sort of black and white thing going on there of quite possibly young, nude, fit men with varying degrees of tousled hair, and kind of interlaid with each other in the background. There's a trio of them.
All right. Giles is going to be returning momentarily. Rather than starting the entire show over, I think I will just stretch for him. As Giles was saying about this image, sepia-toned, fit young men, tousled hair. Unlike him, I don't believe they're all the same guy. I think they're four different men. I think I see now what he might be getting at. It is I think probably a promotional still for Pink Narcissus, which was a experimental avant-garde gay film from 1971. In it, a gay, he's either a actual prostitute or simply a kept man, imagines himself in various exotic scenarios, including in the Roman Empire, Turkish harem, a bullfighting ring, and so forth, as he's waiting for his client, perhaps. There are, if you watch some scenes of it, you'll see, yes, it's very low budget, very pink. Apparently, it was shot by a guy named James. Here, I'm letting Giles in as we speak. Shot by a guy named James Bidgood, and he later. Hello, Giles, are you there?
Yeah, I think so. Here, let me.
There you go.
Yep. Come on, button. Hey, all right.
So, as I was saying, this James Bidgood had his name removed from the project after a dispute with the financiers, and it was released as anonymous. But Bidgood later accepted credit for the movie. We will have the trailer up. It's very experimental film, very low budget film, very homoerotic film, I suppose. Lots of lingering shots of various parts of the boy's unclad, or boy or man, young man's unclad torso. I don't know how explicit the nudity is. I haven't seen it, but that is what I know about it. Giles, do you have any insight for us on this?
No insight. I did see the trailer and was very unsurprised at the restoration trailer, and was very unsurprised to see Guy Madden's blurb about how good this is, because the visual look to it seems to be something that well, he enjoys himself, if not the homoeroticism, but the kind of silent era throwback vibe.
Yeah, well, Guy Madden doesn't shy away from homoeroticism in his own works. Is more, though it's more based from a straight male perspective of I'm homophobic, isn't that funny? So, literally. Also, John Waters had nice things to say about it, but that's not really a surprise. So,
Yes.
what do you see this still on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, I do.
Next one up, I think Giles's connection will be better now, and so we can hopefully proceed without further interruptions. Oh, did you have anything left to say about Pink Narcissus that
No. My only exposure to it is the 1 minute trailer that we will link.
Okay.
For,
All right, this one's next. So describe this poster If you
Sure. I'll start with the describing how the title is done up. It's done up in a festive party balloon style. Lots of fun, child-friendly colors there, and the image itself, it's a either a lake or a seaside kind of escape area. In the far distance, I think there might be the skyline of a city, but that's way in the back. But the main point of interest is a large head that, judging from the rippling on the water, looks like it has recently emerged from the depths. The head is sort of like it's a combination of an inky black with a sort of cosmic star visual motif in there. So dark, but with dots of light. A big smiling head of I'm going to say, not necessarily fully formed skull. Young entity, but a bit of the grotesque going on, and growing out of the side of this head. If I'm taking a peek at my smaller screen here, I'm going to say some backwards pointing ridged horns.
okay. So you had to really lean in. Are you having trouble seeing it?
Oh well, I'm on my laptop,
Okay,
which is
I see.
not
And
able.
at the very bottom, it says the name of the director, and they really want to promote the music,
Yes.
and you can see that
Oh yeah.
filmed by Harmony Korine, music by Burial, and the title is
Baby Invasion.
okay. Um, and do you know what Baby Invasion is, Giles?
Well, I
The
guess
trailer.
judging from the title and the goings on in the trailer, which were a bit odd and a bit cryptic, there seems to be a massive armament of baby headed entities, and they're fighting something somehow, possibly us.
Yeah, no, they're going on home invasions into rich people's mansions and robbing them and maybe doing worse. And they have babyface avatars. It's not at all clear from the trailer, however. Uh, it seems to suggest that this may be happening inside a video game or some sort of virtual
Mm-hmm.
reality. The entire thing has a huge virtual reality feel to it, and I believe that this is partly, at least in harmony, no pun intended, with Korean's sudden interest in AI. A lot of it looks like it may be AI assisted visuals, perhaps for the baby's faces and so forth, and maybe some of the images, such as this levitating baby head, which kind of is reminiscent of Zardoz as a infant, but it does, the baby head kind of seems like something that AI circa a couple of years ago would have come up with. Um, some other thoughts. Pretty much nobody likes this movie. I have not found anyone that say a kind thing about it. Uh, I read one review, a woman claimed it made her sick, um, but not because of the imagery or the subject matter, just literally motion sick from
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And even on the Harmony Korine fan Reddit, uh, the fans there don't seem to be really super enthusiastic about this one. I think his other one, Aggro Drift, they liked better, but a lot of people saying this is a really, really unpleasant watching experience. Um, so someone from our site will be on it post haste.
Oh well, at 80 minutes, that's right in my
There
wheelhouse.
you go, Giles. You just volunteered for some uh, painful movie watching experience. One of the fans on Reddit asked if it even was a movie. It's, 'cause it's more of an art installation experiment, perhaps. With
That's always a good thing to fall back on if yeah, other if nice things can't be found to say about the filmness of it.
But
Ah,
it's certainly interesting from a guy who's always going to push boundaries. Probably the kindest thing we can say.
and he definitely has. I don't have as much exposure to him as other readers of this site and other reviewers here, but there will be always a part of me that appreciates the fact that it seems he does not care what anyone else thinks ever.
He does not seem to care, no. Um, Not a lot. Anyway, here's another one. This one's recently out on VOD. We have discussed it before. We'll discuss it a little bit again in passing. But Giles, do you want to describe this
Yes, we got.
poster we may
It
have
looks like
used before? I'm not sure if we
yeah.
used this one or a different.
This looks familiar to me. A nice Brunswick green background and a good soft yellow orange in all capitals for the somewhat I'm going to guess metaphorical title here, which is a couple of bird things littered about it. But the humans in this image are reserved for the lower right hand side, taking up noticeably less than a quarter of this. And there seems to be a black woman holding a black girl, and in the back of her is another black woman, and there's a fourth. Uh, what looks like, at least on my little screen here. Oh, I can zoom myself. Hey, how about that? Dressed in, I'm going to guess, clothing appropriate to their part of the world, not standard Western dress. A good deal of vibrancy to their ensembles, and all looking fairly serious, but not devastatingly so.
Okay, and the title is
On becoming a guinea fowl.
sure. And I just want to say the title actually has perhaps two meanings. It could be that it means about becoming a guinea fowl, or it could mean after becoming a guinea fowl,
Ah, yes.
which is a little. It's something I just noticed, and it's kind of interesting. I like ambiguous titles like that, and I like the idea of a new movie from Africa, which we do not see enough African cinema. So, congrats to the distributor here, A24, for picking up this one. It's a Zambian movie. My plot description, from what I've gathered, is a woman named Shula discovers her uncle's dead body lying by the side of the road, then reluctantly joins in funeral arrangements. You can see the trailer on your own time. Um, and it is frequently been described as surreal. Even on the cover here, they have a quote that calls it surreal and darkly funny. So that's from something called W Magazine, which I'm not familiar with. But A24's own marketing material calls it surreal. Other reviews I've skimmed have turned up the word surreal and dreamlike before. However, it seems to be that's probably compartmentalized in what's a more dramatic format with some surreal, dreamlike bits.
Mhm.
However, since we haven't seen it, maybe it is thoroughly wall-to-wall weird. We can only hope. Um, and right now, of course, it's just gone on to VOD, which means pricing is like $20 rental, which is not, you might as well buy it at that. It's probably cost the same to rent and to buy. Seems kind of high, but it is less than you'd pay for two people to go to the theater, certainly less than two people to go to the theater and get popcorn. So perhaps it's not that bad a deal. However, be aware that the price will drop.
Yeah.
Giles, any thoughts on becoming a guinea fowl?
Well, reaching back in my memory from when we last discussed this, I watched the trailer then, and it did look like a very solidly, yeah, presuming the trailer was representative, looked like a very solidly entertaining film with a lot of, yes, possibilities, either for surrealism and certainly a good amount of dark comedy.
Yep. And we last discussed it when it was going into theatrical release. Very limited because it didn't come to me. So um, I don't know where it played. Unfortunate that it didn't get wider exposure, but perhaps the fact that it didn't get wider exposure is because it's too weird to make money. We can only hope. Um, but that's new on VOD on Becoming a Guinea Fowl. And the last one we'll discuss today is a new Blu-ray release, which of a movie we've discussed before. And we have both seen this one, unlike any of the other movies we've discussed today. Um, Giles, would you care to start describing that Blu-ray cover?
Sure, this is old style font for the title, and a crackling cracking backdrop to this portrait style image of a much make-upped courtier looking fellow, has a formal wig, nice blue jacket, has that little neck ruff cravat thing, and obvious vest of some sort, has rouged cheeks, red lipstick lips. And I wouldn't even be surprised if his little beauty mark were artificial there, but he is looking ahead at us, uh, appearing serious, but not nearly as dismayed as one might be considering what's going on just in his neck area as he's being bitten there by a very skeletal looking man, very hollowed out face from what little we can see, bald top, almost looking bone top, with the entity's hands, one resting on the young courtier fellow's head and the other holding his shoulder as I'm going to guess perhaps blood is being extracted through the elaborate sartorial arrangement in the, well, as I said, the neck area there.
Yeah, and it is.
The Vourdalak.
And first thing we should probably mention is that the this cover was used for the poster also, I believe, but it is misleading because the creature there doesn't really look like the creature you see
No, it looks
in the movie.
less troubling.
It looks this looks like much more of a normal monster type thing, whereas
Mhm.
the monster in the movie is sort of its chief claim to weirdness. Um, we won't spoil it. You might have heard what the monster is in the movie. Uh, I'm not going to spoil it, but it might have already been spoiled for you due to a lot of discussion about this movie. Anything to say about the movie before we talk about this Blu-ray release in particular, Giles?
Oh, yeah, it's a fun little romp. I recommended it for Apocrypha status, not just because of the nature of the monster in question, but also I like the fact this is effectively a comedy of manners in a late 17th century horror capacity.
Yeah, I suppose there's a good deal of comedy to it. Um, from a Tolstoy short story,
Yes.
and it was Vourdalaks are the sort of the far eastern version, not the far eastern, but the Eastern European version of vampires. More even further, I guess vampires are Eastern European, but even further to the east in Ukraine, Russia, and the future Soviet territories. They had the Vourdalak, who was very similar to a vampire, but had some unique features such as liking to prey specifically on its own family
Yep.
as a
And a
preference,
drooling issue.
and a drooling issue. Um, so there's that. It's very gothic horror, but also with sort of, I guess, I don't know, satirical is the word, but our hero is a bit prissy in an aristocratic way, leading to some comedy, perhaps, when he
Yeah, he's
has to
an
deal with
envoy
more.
from the French noble court who has
Yeah,
been sent out here to, gosh, was this might have been early Napoleon, trying to get my dates for it correct. So definitely a fish out of water thing going on too, certainly.
yeah. The original story would have been set in Russia. I'm not sure if the movie, where the movie is set. I think it's kind of set in an undetermined locale, but you know, they're rustic farm people and a French aristocrat uh, together. So, on this Blu-ray release, now this has already been on VOD. This is the first Blu-ray. Comes with some extras for those of you who are fans of the movie, including deleted scenes, some behind the scenes footage, and what's maybe most interesting is two short films from the director, who his name is Adrian Bowe. Seems like very simple name. Two short films are entitled La Petite Sirène, The Little Siren, and Les Condiments Irréguliers, the irregular condiments,
Uh, yeah.
I guess. I don't know what that refers to.
Condiment is indeed one of those words we picked up from the French at some point, possibly Norman invasion, but yeah.
So the irregular condiments could be interesting. I don't know if don't know anything about those two movies or about the gentleman in question's, Mr. Bowe's other work. I don't think many people, at least in America, were familiar with him before the Vourdalak. So there you go. It's an opportunity to uh, get to know him a little bit better, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, he voices the Vourdalak in the movie as
He's also the voice of the Vourdalak. Okay, looks to me like we have wrapped up. We finished going through all of our titles. I will say we have guests in the future, but not necessarily next week, so I will hold off on any announcements of guests. Giles and I should be back to hold down the fort. Hopefully, Giles's internet connection will stabilize. In the meantime, he lives far from civilization in the.
it's way up on a hill that looms over the surrounding area like a glowering giant. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so difficult to get. He's virtually in the wilderness. It's difficult to get good reception. So, but we struggle through. So, any closing thoughts or words, Giles?
No, nothing. I have rented Baby Invasion. So
You've rented Baby Invasion while we
it,
were here doing the podcast.
yep, doing a
Oh my
little
gosh,
multitasking here. So
we
I guess
sold it
you'll hear
on,
my thoughts on
sold
that
you
next
on
week.
it. All those bad reviews.
It's like, oh, well, it isn't the first time I've made such an exploration, so I'll find
Hey,
out soon.
more power to you. Hey, who knows? You could like it genuinely, or it could be, you don't like it, but
I can do it. Yeah, if I don't like it, I can just do the single sentence review. They were right.
or you might not like it, but still find it interesting and intriguing. I think that's the best case scenario if you don't like it. But maybe you'll like it. Who knows? We shouldn't dismiss it offhand. But
No.
all right. I hope you don't get motion sickness from it, though.
Oh, thank you kindly.
Okay. Sounds like we are done. We're going to sign off. Goodbye, everyone. Back next week with more of the news and new releases. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.